Hey everybody, real quick. Daniel Lurie is the mayor of San Francisco. He survived an army of challengers, including the now previous incumbent San Francisco Mayor London Breed, hand for a little bit in London and her great service to San Francisco. Unfortunately cut short because of the pandemic, but I'll get to that in a second. But emerged as, to me, the surprising winner was Daniel Lurie. And they would say, why surprising? Because he wasn't on the selections of most to be the next mayor. A number of people picked old favorites like Aaron Peskin. A number of people wanted London Breed to be reelected. And others still pointed to folks like Mark Farrell, who I have to thank his campaign people for putting me on their email list and getting emails out to me. Much appreciated. And I did put out their news because they were kind enough to send me an email. That was the reason. Now, there's Lurie. And Daniel Lurie is a person I came to know because he headed the effort to bring the 50th Super Bowl to the San Francisco Bay Area. And in so doing, established a name for himself. Prior to that, he was one of the founders, if not the founder, of something called Donors Choose. And Daniel had, what Donors Choose is a platform where people can actually donate to nonprofits. So Daniel was possessing of a name among people who ran nonprofit organizations and needed fundraising. Donors Choose is kind of like a change.org website for nonprofits. But he was the head of the bid to bring the Super Bowl to San Francisco under a different NFL system than the one that I participated under, where you actually put a bid in and there was well, that's not true. He was one of the last to participate in the system that I participated under, where you put the bid in and the NFL votes for your proposal. And that year, that was 2012, that I was on hand. The San Francisco bid beat out the Miami bid, and I remember Robert Barreto, who's a big business guy in South Florida, came through, and this is on Zinni62 YouTube, and just pitched an absolute fit that San Francisco won for the obvious reasons, things he didn't want to say on the air. Okay, that if you think about it, are some of the things that caused us Democrats to lose the election this year. Right? Okay, you got to be honest about it. That's what happened. Uh, there's no other way to sugarcoat it. In fact, there's no way to sugarcoat it. At any rate, Daniel Lurie is a process guy. He's also a heir to the Levi family, which includes Bob Haas, who I served on the Cal Alumni Board Awards Committee back in 2003. And I had the pleasure of interviewing Dan when Super Bowl 50 actually was underway and had an event at Children's Fairyland. And then saw him again at the Fox Theater for the Gospel Ship program. Anyway, Dan's a very mild-mannered, processed guy who's known for getting things done. Now, how that translates to San Francisco, I think, is quite positively. And not that I'm taking anything away from London, but Dan is a man who forms a plan and then executes the plan. The question is, does he have the right plan for San Francisco? And that implies that I believe I know what the right plan is, and I do. San Francisco has a huge underinvestment problem, like much of the Bay Area, particularly Oakland. And the major issue of San Francisco is that a lot of thousands of businesses have either left or closed because of the pandemic, and the city did absolutely nothing to replace them. I mean, absolutely nothing to replace them. Now, you would say, Zinni, what could have been done, right? And hey, Anthony, well, how you doing? what could you have done? What could have been done? Use tax increment financing under AB 464 Mullen and embark on a program of announcing conversions or programs to convert offices to live work. Why? Because remote work literally was the other factor that caused a lot of the siphoning of daily money out of downtown San Francisco, money that is used by workers to get lunch, money that is used by workers to pay for couriers, and basically money that keeps the financial district in downtown San Francisco going, nightlife, restaurants, and everything else, caused a gigantic domino effect. And that, with the impact on retail, wrecked such facilities as Westfield Shopping Center, my favorite place to hang out because it has had an excellent food court, which also you can experience here at Zenny 62 on YouTube. My favorite places like the Korean restaurant among them, and of course there was the other offerings regarding ice cream and if you wanted to have Mexican food, or there was also, well, just standard American, hamburgers. I loved the place. It was also a place to go to just have a quick meal before you went up to 3-star flights to catch a movie. It was a city within a city, and now it is gone. All that remains is the building itself. It is a hulking reminder of a once thriving area of San Francisco, and that is Union Square on the corner of Market Street and Stockton. Big loss, gigantic loss. If you want to bring San Francisco back, you got to have a plan for that area of Union Square, and the plan should call for a little Keynesian economic spending. In other words, bond debt, and that's where tax increment financing comes in, where you use the property taxes that are being paid from property owners within a designated area and apply that to a set of programs. In this instance, the conversion of spaces from strictly retail or strictly office to live work, where you'd have the ability to live. And therefore, a person who's working and wants to be downtown can live downtown, but also work where they live. And I believe that would be a gigantic hit, and combined with security and also programs. A number of people have simply said, hey, look, if you just clean up the street, that's all you need to do. And I don't think that's all you need. One needs to do now, because of the awful reputation that San Francisco has had poured upon it, literally, like bad sugar. Pour some sugar on me, but this wasn't a request by San Francisco. It's something that happened to it because of the way the pandemic was handled not well. And if you do that along the financial district, make that entire corridor from Market and Embarcadero all the way up to Civic Center the centerpiece of recovery, but also have a special program for those who cannot make rent. Give the money directly to them rather than just fuel construction of more and more housing. The biggest problem that has reared its ugly head in this entire affair is the reluctance of government to give people who need money to stay in housing enough money to do so. It only gives them just the level to where they can say, well, we did something. But, the money ran out. Well, and no one is going to ask the question unless they happen to be Zinni Abraham. Well, was it enough money to begin with? Did you budget enough money to get the job done? And the answer is up and down the state, and the state itself, no, wasn't done. It is to me one of the biggest failures of government policy in the 21st century, to have millions of people in California dependent on the government to deliver for a simple thing, getting money to them to assist in business repairs, replacement of windows, tenants, payment of rent, businesses' payment of rent, and not do that at an adequate level. The state, California, needed $20 billion to get that done. It only had $8 billion. And if it had used and reignited tax increment financing, it could have worked with the cities and municipalities so that they would have the money to complete the job. You know what I mean? There was no big think planning around this, no long-term focus, nothing. It was just, hey, let's say we're getting this done. Let's get money to some people, and when it's out, it's out, and we're not going to do anything else. And what happened beyond that, the federal government under Biden, my president, I know, ironically, started the whole, well, this is a fraud issue. It's a big fraud problem that we're dealing with here. And that didn't happen under Trump. You had some mutterings of it, but I have to say, blindly, to Trump's credit, he was Jack Bull, interested in getting money out to people and then signing his name to the check to let you know where it came from, him. I said to my mom, I said to a number of people, I don't care whose name is on the check as long as the money is flowing, because that is going to help the economy. And if you take a look at the match between when the payments arrived and the rise in gross domestic product, that's precisely what happened twice. Okay? It doesn't take a genius to figure out that Trump helped a lot of people that way, and a lot of people didn't forget that, because the problem has been with the economy. All these side issues are just enough to get people to, in some cases, focus off the real problem, but the real problem was always the economy. What is it they used to say? It's the economy, stupid, in politics. Well, that's still true today. That's still true today. That's Daniel's job. Daniel has to remember it's the economy, stupid. And you clean up, you have a program to clean up the spine of San Francisco, but not just clean it up, rebuild it anew, revitalize it, have a gigantic party, which is what San Francisco is known for, isn't it? A gigantic party to announce the return of San Francisco. That's what's needed, and more. But you start there, and I think if Daniel can pull that off, if he doesn't, first of all, he recognizes that that's the problem, and then starts to pull up to a move to pull it off, and then does, he will go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest mayor in San Francisco history. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube and bookmark OaklandNewsOnline.com. That is this broadcast.